Welcome to Get Cooking in Cloud, where we share the best recipes to apply in your cloud kitchen. I'm Priyanka, and we're joined by Jenny.
Hi, everyone. Today we'll be continuing our recipe to help dinner winner make the most of their implementation.
And of course, we'll be continuing with our gluten-free recipe, now that we've cleaned our workspace of the identified allergens.
We've got a few moving pieces with this recipe, so let's quickly review where we've been and where we've got to go.
In the last episode, we introduced the application called Dinner Winner. They collect recipes from users all over the world, review them, and award prizes for the recipes delicious enough to repost on their app.
The recipes aren't supposed to, but they might initially contain personal information of the participants, and that information cannot make it to the judging or the final publicly posted recipe card. So there's some work to do to make sure the automated classification puts the right data in the right spot at the right time.
Fortunately, we've got a plan. This will be a 4-step process. Dinner Winner will first create cloud storage buckets to be used as part of the quarantine and the classification pipeline. They would need to create a cloud pub/sub topic and subscription to notify between the two cloud functions. Then they need to create the two cloud functions, one that invokes the DLP API when files are uploaded, and the second that uses the DLP API to inspect and classify the files and move them to the appropriate bucket. Then finally, upload some sample files to the quarantine bucket to invoke the cloud function.
Now let's start by creating the cloud storage bucket. But before we can even do that, we need to set up our environment. Create or select the GCP project and make sure billing is enabled. Then head over to the APIs and services and enable APIs for cloud functions, cloud storage, and cloud data loss prevention APIs. Now that we have the APIs enabled, let's enable the correct permissions so that our App Engine service account can connect with the DLP API. For that, we will open the I am an admin page in our project, locate the App Engine service account, and edit the roles. Add project owner, DLP administrator, and DLP API service agent, and save. Next, we'll grant the DLP service account the permission that it needs. Locate the DLP API service agent and add a project viewers role to it.
Now we are ready to get our cloud storage buckets created. We navigate to cloud storage and create them. Remember, we will need 3 buckets, one for sensitive data, one for non-sensitive data, and the last one for all the files as they come in. Name the buckets as you wish, but remember it has to be a globally unique name. Once we have created all 3 buckets, you should be able to see them all in the storage browser. Now we are ready to set up our Cloud pub/sub topic and subscription. Let's navigate to Cloud pub/sub and create a topic, provide it a name, and hit Create. Then to create a subscription corresponding to the topic, click on New Subscription, provide it a name, and create.
At this point, we've got the setup in place for Dinner Winner and we have 2 more steps left. But now that we've got our process and our contaminant-free environment, let's get baking.
What a recipe! This gluten-free thing is no joke. But it's critical to have an understanding of what goes in and what stays out.
It's a delicate balance, but we're halfway there. Stay tuned for next week when we get Dinner Winner to the finish line for their implementation.
Automated classification, here we come. For more information about alternative approaches, do check out the articles linked in the description below.
And if you're hungry for more, be sure to like, subscribe, and catch up on all the ways you can get cooking with cloud.